For the next 1 hour, we look at what's happening in the country. So, politics versus the law. There's an unprecedented battle that's going to be taking place in the courts today. We saw it's a culmination of a political contest that was there in Parliament, in the National Assembly, in the Senate. It's still going on. The National Assembly has already approved President Ruto's nominee for next deputy president, in record time. Honorable members, I was given, it's okay, yes. Let me read the name. No, it's fine. Yes. Honorable members, okay. The ayes have it. And that was it. That time, Gachagua is with Dr. Dan Gekonyo. Then Gachagua comes out on Sunday and says, I cannot believe that this could happen. I cannot believe. So the question we are asking today, okay, should Gachagua just look back and see, like he said, the relationship between him and his boss is irretrievably broken, right? This one is gone, right? Should he just say, okay, he Manda?
Eric, we've seen ugly divorces in politics. Anyone who thinks that there's an element of permanence in these things has not even begun to understand our politics. No. Just like me, I have no clue what is actually going on.
Yeah, you don't know.
No, I don't. I am seeing court cases. I am seeing people going to I am seeing all these things. But I honestly don't know what is going on.
You don't get it.
No, what's in the public domain is a symptom, a sign of what's going on. But what's actually going on, I cannot claim to actually know.
We've invited Herman Manyora to come so we can also hear his thoughts on this. Herman, good morning.
Morning to you.
How are you doing?
Wow, wonderful. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
But I'm not happy that the lady's not here. Last time I was here, she wasn't.
She's listening and she knows and she hears.
She's enjoying. Let the lady relax. Let her recharge her
Ogaland or
she has
wherever
she's been everywhere. She went to Ogaland to witness the coronation of her uncle as a king.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Congratulations.
She's royalty, Bana.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so next time you see her here,
okay,
treat her as the royalty that she is.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So karibu sana.
Asante.
City will give you the day's proverb. So give Manyora the day's proverb. This week, we have been looking at proverbs from the Maghreb.
Yes.
Last week we were in the People's Democratic Republic of
Algeria. Yes.
And today, this week, we
are in the Republic of Tunisia.
Yeah, in the People's Democratic Union.
There are people there, but they don't want to emphasize the people. And they are a democracy, but they also don't want to emphasize the democracy. So they're just the Republic of Tunisia.
Okay.
It is Africa's most northernest. That is my country. You don't get more north than Tunisia. All right. An interesting country, this one. These Maghreb countries are very interesting. The natives of Tunisia are actually Berbers. And you find them right across the Maghreb. But they're not the most populous.
As in Raoni Kinyozi?
BER.
Oh. Okay.
So wale ambao wanakunyoa nywele.
Okay.
Yes, they're the natives.
Okay.
But the Phoenicians, people who decided to move there over the years, ended up there, and they are by far, no, they're not the majority. Right now, the majority are actually Arabs. Okay? All right. I'll go into the details later. Even if he wears a valuable harness, the donkey does not turn into a racehorse.
Even if he wears a valuable harness, the donkey does not turn into a racehorse. Herman, what's your interpretation of this proverb?
I think basically it's about outward appearances. It's about what Jesus said, washing the outside of a cup and leaving the inside. And you basically don't change who you are through ornaments and things of that nature. Yes.
You are still who you are.
Yeah, you're still who you
are. Hata ujipambe vipi.
So it's better to concentrate with the inside. Yes.
Very nice. That's a good one. City says he doesn't understand what's going on.
He doesn't
when
understand.
he look at politics.
And I don't blame him.
Do you get what's going on?
I do have an idea.
What's going on?
A rough idea, not quite a clear idea. I know there is politics. The politics to remove Rigathi Gachagua from office. And an attempt to do it through the provided avenue, but making a big mess of it. And as a result, giving Rigathi Gachagua an opening to challenge the impeachment in the in our courts, and thereby raising a lot of problems for everybody. Because impeachment is a political process. Ideally, at the end of it all, one Senate finds the governor unfit to hold office. That should be it. The president, that should be it. Deputy, that should be it. But because the people impeaching Gachagua are in a hurry to do so, they have made a lot of mistakes along the way. There are so many flaws along the way. Not even to mention the flimsy grounds upon which he is being impeached. Because that's not an issue. This is a political. Even if they don't like your face, you can be impeached. But they are compelled by the people of this country through the constitution they gave themselves to do so in a manner provided for by the law. But what is even more serious for the impeachment cartel is that you see, the people are not convinced. One, they are not convinced about the urgency of this. They
Which
don't
people?
see it as important.
Citizens?
The people of this country. They don't think this is urgent. And they think there are much more important things. And secondly, the reasons for impeaching Gachagua, much as they are not important because this is an impeachment, the people are not convinced those reasons, those grounds make sense. So here are people forcing an impeachment on the people of Kenya, and the people are saying we are not happy with this. Even those who don't like Gachagua. People don't have to like Gachagua. They just don't like what's going on. And I think that's the situation we find ourselves in.
You're
in
saying
summary.
that those...
And I hope CT has now understood.
You're saying that those who are pushing for the removal of the deputy president have made a mess of it.
Yes.
How so?
I've told you first to begin with the grounds themselves and how they are prosecuted. Even if everybody knows about what has gone on in the process of prosecuting this case, both in the National Assembly and in Senate. But much more critical in terms of the speed with which the whole thing is happening. Gazette notices at night and things that they're in a hurry. So you find there are a lot of flaws in that manner. Look, one glaring one, a man falls sick. Whether you think he's feigning sickness or not is not within our province to say. And you say this process must go on. And among the people saying this process must go on, even if the main person who should be testifying is in hospital. What baffles people, this is coming from people like Orengo. It is so what is the hurry? If a man is admitted in hospital, like we all could be admitted in hospital, what is the hurry for? There are no timelines. So for people who are respected, like senior lawyers, to come and tell the country that there are timelines, this thing is time-bound, when it's not true. Even if it were time-bound, they were still up to Saturday, going by their 10 days, which is even wrong. But even if it is also 10 days, you could even open it up and say Saturday is a holiday, Sunday is a holiday, Monday is a holiday. So there is no escape route. There was nothing like 10 days.
There was no
or
reason to
time-bound.
finish it on Thursday.
So whichever way you look at. So these are the things that are irritating the citizens of this country. Not because they love Gachagua. Many of them don't, frankly speaking.
But City, do you now understand then what's going on? Because the bottom line of this is, why remove the deputy president? What really is the reason? Like
Politics.
you said,
That's politics.
like you said, the charges that were brought, one looks at them and you're like,
There isn't one that anybody sensible can come and sit with us here and tell us, Manyora, this one is a ground for impeachment. Much as, like I must say this repeatedly, impeachment is a political process. You could impeach CT because you don't like his face.
but that's not provided for in law.
You can find a way of calling it. You can find a way.
Gross
you can say the way he
violation.
smiled and the way he frowned when he met the president, that is enough to impeach. It shows his intent. Yeah. So you can say anything about impeachment everywhere in the world. The grounds are really not important. But in this particular context, because of the charged politics in this country, because of the ethnic configuration of this country, it is always important. And I'm addressing myself to the future of this, in the matters of this impeachment. In the future, before you impeach a president or a deputy president, please just understand what country we are. There are so many flashpoints in this country. So what you do, look for really reasons, even if it's one, and then impeach somebody. Don't go fishing for things, because then you are going to, nobody will believe you. But again, like I've said, those processes, the way they are hurried, denying Gachagua the chance to come and tell his story to Senate, and so on and so forth. Yeah, and look at public participation. They themselves invited public participation. No, but it's not written anywhere that during impeachment you must have public. It's not written anywhere. They invited them. They know that in the recent past, legislation has been overturned by the courts on the basis of there having been no public. So there is. They want to forestall that by going for public participation. Then they make a mess of that public participation. So, I mean, they have a problem. Look at the appointment of Kindiki itself, nomination of Kindiki. They know there's no IBC. Nobody asked them to go to IBC, but they went there. So they have been inviting problems for themselves. Finally, so that CT may be a good student and get an A, what you are saying, the cumulative effect of all these is that we enter into a minefield called litigation. So people are going to go to court now. So that now City Muga knows really what is happening. We are putting the judiciary in a very difficult place. Because ideally, judiciary should not interfere with the politics. Because politicians are bad manners. If you follow them, you'll also get dirty. But now the judiciary is finding itself in a very difficult situation because they must enter a field where they shouldn't enter. Because there's no way they will come here unscathed. They will actually be affected. They will be muddied.
However way they...
Whichever way they rule or they determine these issues.
You know, the thing I find confusing, and I found confusing for a while, every time we talk of our politics and then academicians weigh in and we start talking about the structure of our politics, whether it is centric, whether it is democratically centric, whether it has a social leaning. And then I look at our lived reality and I realize that's not quite. You see, the reality of our politics is that each and every political party is a business enterprise.
Correct.
And everything that is done, and even the problems that arise and that we refer to as a political problem, they're not political problems in my opinion. They are business problems. Because everything that you hear being leveled against the deputy president, if we balance it against what it is that the protests were for, the Sufria on the head protests, the Gen Z protests, what were those? Those were economic issues that we were complaining about, but then they were politicized because the moment you demonstrate, the economic issue has gone to the streets and you're demonstrating. It's an issue that we know it's a genuine issue, it's a tangible issue. Then these matters go to court. Now, in what form do they go to court? Our constitution allows our courts to have a say in some of these things, like we are told the processes. Now, if everything in our economy, anything that is termed as being political, has a very strong economic basis, then why are we focusing on talking about the politics of it when the reality is not the politics? And why do I say this? We've had heated discussions and disagreements of this nature before. We've even had situations where people have been killed in large numbers because it is said it was political or politically instigated. But if you look at the root of it, the economics of it, some claiming this land is theirs and other people have occupied it. That's not political. You're talking economics. And then we look at the balkanization, or we look at the associations that people have and what we call political formations. Again, at the center of it, what is it? Is it politics? It's certainly not politics. Now, the deputy president made the mistake of telling the whole country in the world this particular reality. When talked about shareholding, that is what he did. And he was not wrong. There are certain cardinal sins that one must not commit because there are rules that govern the economic and the business principles that we have in this country that are best manifested in what we call our politics. The things you don't say. The things you don't make public.
But he's a truthful man of God.
So let me ask you, CT. Okay, so all that, it's economy coming into politics, it's truthful, so what is the reason for this breakup of relations between, because this is it is William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. What is the issue?
If you ask me,
or do you think the issue it's not even that?
The issue is money. I don't know how it is that it has come in. When I don't understand, I'm trying to figure out what exactly have they quarreled over. Because, Eric, I don't understand. I honestly don't understand how it is a sitting president will allow a process which will shine this spotlight on him as much as it's on his deputy, and a parliament that starts a process that will shine this spotlight again on them, and in the most adverse way possible. You see my confusion. Why are you allowing us to see you in a light you'd prefer us not to see you in?
That's the question.
Because that's what they've done.
That's the question. Even in a simple thing, I was saying, you send Gachagua staff on compulsory leave.
Yeah.
Surely.
Constructive dismissal. But that's not even what we are getting, apart from the unfairness of it all. Bordering stupidity, actually. People get to ask, you mean there were this number of people in Gachagua's office? Busybodies? People who inherited a government, they told you the government was broke, and they were able to pump so many people in an office.
And we were paying
busybodies, holding titles which professionals in this country can only dream of. They are people well-trained, well-educated, with experience, dreaming to get to job group SOT, and they are not, and they are retiring down there. And here, busybodies being just pumped there and given.
STU.
So people are asking, what is all this? So you are right, Muga. You make people see things and say, what's wrong with these fellows?
You're airing your dirty linen.
Yeah.
Yes.
In public.
When Gachagua speaks outside Karen Hospital, certain things come out. And like you say, spotlight on the president. People say, can a human being do this to another human being? What Gachagua did is not important at that time. The public seeing that lady with her tears are not bothered about the other things behind. No. Because pirates occasionally throw each other in the sea. There's no honor among thieves, you know that, eh? But that is not what people are looking at. What the human eye is now picking, and it bites the heart. What comes out is what they are now seeing, that image. And they conclude that Ruto is not a good man. They are not interested, and they don't even bother about what could have led Ruto into doing that, because then he has not told people why. And even if you said, some people say like there can be no reason big enough for you to treat another human being in that manner. You know, you see, like even from a very professional way, you cannot withdraw somebody's security, because security is not a privilege. I think that any of us can apply for security, and our risk will be assessed, and we shall be given or not given on the basis of that assessment. And how many of the guards we get will depend on that assessment. You may not qualify. I may qualify. You may qualify. I get 2, you get 5.
Yeah.
You remember the saga between Ruto and Matiang'i?
Yeah.
So how do you expose a deputy president? Sure, if it is true, he doesn't have, and the family is driving him, optics in a small car. These are, and they will do that. They will use those optics. So it's also true that, like you, Muga, a lot of things don't make sense.
There's a lot going on. There are those who have said that maybe this is just smoke and mirrors. Divert attention of the public towards something.
All along I thought so.
Diffuse something else.
Until I've seen, if they are still acting, they must be, what award is this? It's Oscar award. They must get something. If it is true, they are acting. Remember the Uhuru, Raila, Ruto, circus or game. Up to now, nobody can tell me they know what happened. Was Uhuru actually genuine? Did he actually support Raila? Or was it a game involving Ruto and Uhuru? Or was it in fact a game involving the three? You can't tell. This is politics. And it won't be the first time. I'm a student of history, and I know things like those have happened elsewhere. So even now, it is quite possible, like you say, these guys are acting.
That's what they call the long game.
But when I look at how fight has gone,
it's
I
not
begin to
stretching.
doubt that they could be
It's
acting. They
stretching
can't be
beyond-
this smart.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they are not smart.
So, Herman,
Yes.
should Rigathi Gachagua read the room and just see? Like he said when he spoke outside Karen Hospital, he said clearly this one is coming from the president himself. This is all sanctioned by the president himself.
I think politics is a war. Politicians are perpetually at war against each other and so on and so forth, which is normal, really. So to ask Gachagua to leave the arena and walk home is to ask him not to be a politician. So long as he's a politician, he will stay in the ring and fight until he's knocked down. They count 1 to 10. Politicians don't just take a walk; they fight. So we expect him to continue fighting. If there was a time he would have left, it was a time before the process gotten to a point where somebody could call a point of no return. Meaning, like people have always argued that if you are impeached, you can't run for office, at least not in the near future.
Yeah.
That is the time he would have resigned. But now, what is there to gain by resigning? But basically, being a politician, he will fight to the bitter end.
To what end?
To the bitter end.
What does he gain?
There are many things to be gained. Top on the list is that there is always a chance he can succeed and remain the deputy president. That's worth fighting for. Okay? You can also fight to prove a point. You can also fight so that you don't give your opponent the pleasure of walking off laughing and enjoying that he has crushed you. But there are big ideals for which he can fight. He can fight for the Constitution. Because there are many people, I included, I'm sure you are included. We want to stretch our Constitution and see the limit. Let's see how it can go. We want to look at our laws. We are looking at our lawyers. Is it just the English and the good suits, or there's something about them? We want to see something among our lawyers. They say jurisprudence. We want to see it grow. We want the law to grow. We want to see
Our judges.
our judges. Can our judges stand for this country? Can they stand for the Constitution? Can they work without fear or favor? I understand the Chief Justice today is meeting the President on the matters of intimidation of the judges over this. We want to see how far can the judges withstand the heat from State House. This is what is seeing. There can be no better time to be alive
Okay.
in Kenya than now.
That's all good
So
for
for
us
that,
as spectators.
We want to cheer on Gachagua.
It's all good for us as
Cheer him
spectators.
on. Let him go on. Let him help us see whether our Constitution can be lived.
At what personal costs?
To who?
To Gachagua himself.
The moment you
Look
enter-
at what Dr. Gikonyo said. He
Yes.
said, among the things that you must consider is that even cardiologists now accept that there's something, a condition called broken heart.
Yes.
That you go through such pressure and such disappointment that it actually causes you bodily harm.
But even love causes you such.
Exactly.
So
It's extreme emotions.
Exactly.
yeah,
That
those are
that
things that happen to us but the scale varies.
That extreme emotion, we have seen the scale. It has taken Gachagua to hospital.
Yes.
He has been admitted to hospital.
Yes. Who
Right.
tells you the other opponents are also having it easy?
That's what I'm saying. For
Yes.
him,
Yeah.
Gachagua has already seen where this could take him in terms of personal costs.
I want to tell you
So
this.
should he really continue to push
He should,
against that?
he
own
should
personal
continue, and I'm sure he will continue. You've seen a politician in parliament coming to take oath of his office with oxygen. Yes, God rest his soul, he later passed on. You see, the moment you enter politics, there are certain risks you must be prepared for, including your own health. Let me tell you this. Many of the politicians we have in this world, let's talk about this country, have diseases which you don't need Gekonyo to tell you, which you can directly attribute to the engagement. These are the hazards in politics. Yeah. Including your lifestyle, including developing diabetes because you don't have time to eat. There are many stretches you go through without eating. Then you trigger things in the body and you get diabetes, which you may not have even gotten, like Manyora got naturally perhaps. So these are the hazards of that profession. It's a profession with hazards. One of them is that your personal health comes second. Your family comes third.
What? If you look at our politics, there are two qualities that I see as very eminent. One, it's an addiction.
Correct.
Because you have to ask, people who go into politics, let's take the example of somebody who say has won once and loses again. There are those who look and say enough, but the vast majority don't.
They don't. And if you looked at politics rationally, then you'll be like us who have not entered.
Yes.
Don't I look like a politician? Why have I not gone for politics? Because you look at it rationally. And the sort of things I see people going through, I feel I'm not prepared to go through. So then I'm not a politician to that extent. But there's those like Muga says, who either don't see, don't care, or they see, you know.
And that's what addiction does for you.
Once you are there, you are there.
See, it blinds you to everything else. And then there's a second quality. Contamination. Our politics contaminates you. We keep asking, what happens to people when they get into politics? They've been contaminated.
Correct.
They it's not even change. They metamorphosize. They become somebody completely different. And it's the only time you see the person you knew before is when they're no longer in politics.
Yeah. Correct. Looking miserable now.
Yes.
So let Gachagua fight. We shall cheer him on. If we had support, we would give him. Because through this, we are going to learn a lot of things. And let me tell you this. In the year 2007 and 2008, we almost lost our country. This is the closest we came to losing our country. God has always been with us. We still have our country. But we looked and said, look, why are we walking like this? At any time, this country can disappear from the face of the earth. So what did we do? We said, why were people slashing each other? It's because there was no police they could trust that will be neutral. So we say we are going to have a new police force. What have we done to ourselves? We have bastardized the police. Is that not true? Even the process of selecting an IG whom we thought would be independent and they need not have been policemen, we bastardized this. That was a key cog at Serena in the discussions. What else did we say? Why do people fight during elections? Because there's no neutral arbiter. So what did we give ourselves? We gave ourselves the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has been put to test. And I'm sad to announce to Kenyans that it has been found wanting. And you can go on and on. All these institutions we gave, we said, look here, this imperial presidents, how do we check it? We gave ourselves devolution. The governors have turned into thieves. So devolution may be bearing a few fruits, but it's not giving us what we thought, especially, just a moment, especially in terms of checking on the excesses of the presidents. But the most important institution we gave ourselves and gave all the power to that institution was Parliament. We knew these are the people we put there. These are the only people with the power to check on the other two. What have they done? They have turned themselves into boys. You see them cheering over a matter that could land this country right in the deep of the Indian Ocean. Sink it, and you don't see it on the face of the world. They are cheering like children. They have been given 60 days to process a nomination from the president of a replacement for Gachagua. They want to do it in minutes. They have been given 60 days, and not for fun. Because This is a serious undertaking. You can see them cheering and clapping and doing things like boys and girls over a matter of life and death. Because the framers of the Constitution did not give them 60 days to process that name from Ruto for nothing.
Yeah.
Because you are now introducing somebody not elected by the people to be the deputy president.
Yeah.
It's not a matter over which you can be laughing and being juvenile about. Because now this deputy president is not being elected by the people. And what is more serious, the man you are now cheering and passing in 60 seconds instead of 60 days, 60 minutes instead of 60 days, can become the president of the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
Without being voted for by the people of this country. That is it cannot get more serious than that. So that parliament has let Kenyans down. So it is good that this thing plays out so that we can know, and at the right time, at the opportune time, Eric, I'm sure that time is coming, Kenyans will sit down and have a national conversation and prepare a charter to drive us into. Now we know we never trust anybody.
We can see what's working, what's not working.
What's not working. So it's good for this country. Let us stretch everything. Let's stretch it. And we thank Gachagua for that.
You know, talking of Supreme Court, sir, there are those who have said that our Constitution borrowed heavily from the American Constitution. As you're speaking, it came to mind. If you look at the Supreme Court, the American Supreme Court, it is partisan. It is actually known.
Yes.
This judge leans this way, this one leans. There are no pretenses.
Yes.
So even now, if a matter were to go to the Supreme Court of America, one can actually almost predict accurately exactly what will happen, simply because it is known. And it begins from the time those judges are appointed and who is president at the time of the appointment. See, the issue of the long game. Should this thing get here, what sort of person will you have holding that particular seat?
With a minor amendment, C.T. Muga and Eric Latiff, this partisan approach to the matters of law in America, as seen in the way the Supreme Court is constituted. You remember Trump was able to put there, I think, 2 or so.
Yes.
But not when it comes for matters American. It's on matters that attract the partisan thinking. Do we allow for abortion?
Abortion or not?
Are we pro-life or pro-choice?
Life
Do we
sentence
allow
or
for
not?
gay rights, and how far can we go? And that's how it is on such a basis that we have the partisan nature of the American politics. But when it comes for standing for country, the judges that Trump pushed through were not there for him. Am I wrong? They were not there for him.
Yeah.
They
were there for America.
I agree
They were
with
not
you.
there for Trump.
Including
the ones he pushed down the throats of Americans. They didn't stand for him. They stood for America.
Why I brought in the issue of partisanship, I was looking at our Supreme Court and asking, what is their point, the point at which they lean? What are they partisan towards? Do they...
You can ask a man called Grand Mullah. Anaitanga
Judipesa.
Jurispesa. And also, and I'm sorry, but it's also a question of the intellectual wherewithal, the intellectual power of an individual judge in some of these. Because again, to be educated sometimes means you can get committed to something and you can withstand pressure. And money can be put in the right perspective, that money is just money. But if you are intellectually weak,
intellectually or morally, Herman, you see, when one
they go together.
When one reads what it is that the Grand Mullah pens or what he says, and the details he goes into, one has to ask, how does he have so much information about?
But this is Kenya. What don't we know?
No. I don't. And unless someone tells me some of these things, if you ask me about the goings on in the court, I can tell you honestly, I don't know. It is what I read or what I'm told. The point I'm making is this. We all tend to be partisan, but the leaning that we are characterized with, and we also unfortunately characterize ourselves with, is tribe.
Yes, that's what you want to say.
Yes, but it is not the whole picture.
It's not the whole picture.
No, it is not.
People
Because
were counting during the last election. They were saying, this judge is beholden to Huru.
Yes.
This one, they were counting on if you look at the parameter, it was tribe.
Yes.
But it didn't work like that.
No, my point exactly. The thing that trumps everything else is money.
Money, of course. Money and tribe. Those two.
You see, I am saying money trumps tribe.
Okay. I was thinking both are, sometimes it depends. There are those who will be so inclined to tribe that no amount of money will bend them.
They're emotionally invested in tribe.
In tribe.
Because of that
the
issue.
tribesmen, the so-called tribesmen.
I need to be shown such individuals for me to believe that this is possible.
I think the idea is look for one who is not like that.
Yes.
You are looking for the wrong one. The one to look for is the one who is not tribally inclined.
You see, Herman, why I called our politics a contamination is because we speak from a Judeo-Christianity perspective and a morality that our constitution wanted to imbue upon us, and then I juxtapose it against our lived reality. We speak, we voice, we talk about standards, we talk about morality, but that's not our lived reality. Our lived reality is a complete contradiction of those very values. And I ask the question whenever I have an opportunity, do our political leadership understand what they're setting in motion? And I'm asking that question again now. Do they know what it is that they have set in motion right now?
The sad truth and reality is that most of these people do not have the intellectual capacity to understand some of these things. And when you even hear learned men and women, learned in the sense that they are lawyers, and learned because the papers they show us indicate they have been to school. There's no philosophical depth in what they are saying. Because even if you talk about shareholding, and you are really powerfully trying to persuade people, and you are a professor, or you have that title, and other fancy titles, and you are lawyers, you are so shallow. Because first of all, what is politics? Politics is about people. Why do people go for power? Why do you think somebody lays down their life like Latiff is saying? They even know they can die because of their health, but still want to be powerful. Which is the riskiest job in the world? Is it not the president of the U.S.? You are at the greatest risk, more than any other person in the world. But you go for it. Why? There is a power associated with it. Power to do many things, but mainly to be the guy in the kitchen and sharing the food. That's what it is, just that stupidly simple. That politics is about the power to distribute resources. So what is this shareholding nonsense we are talking about?
So let me ask then, if we move this conversation from those who are in the room, seated at the table, and chairmen and women who are cheering them on, but they're all in the room.
Yes.
They're all partaking of our wealth.
Yes.
And enjoying it.
Yes.
To the citizen, right?
Yes.
Should this thing matter?
It will be
because you're saying let's push it, let's do all these things, but should it really matter to the citizen?
It will be forced to matter.
How?
Because everything that happens on the political front affects all of us. We jokingly put people in office, but the policies they are put in place are going to affect us, and they are affecting us. Some of them so badly that you cannot begin to imagine that this is possibly happening to our country. And therefore, Kenyans are getting to understand the nexus between the people they put in office and their lives, and the life they live. It's been abstract, but every passing day shows them that's not true. It's not abstract. It's real. It's real. You're closing your business today because of the politics of the day. Your children are not going to school. Your university student is not in school because somebody is experimenting with that. It is real. It's not abstract anymore. So as we continue to move, and this becomes a catalyst, this impeachment is a catalyst to speed up a process that was going to happen anyway. But the speed now will change. And therefore, the abstract nature of our politics is going to disappear so fast. Every time the word politics is uttered, You look at your feet, you don't have shoes. You look at your son's feet, there are jiggers in. And you know, these jiggers are not just in the feet of my daughter. And I'm from Nyeri, and Nyeri has produced 3 presidents. No, not Nyeri, Mount Kenya.
Mount Kenya.
3 presidents. 15 years, 10 years, 10 years. 20 plus 15, Zaman. 35 years. And there's nowhere in this country where there are jiggers more than Central Kenya. So it is not abstract anymore. And this impeachment is going to show Kenyans that the men and women you thought could work for you to make sure your children get good education, and you yourself can access health care and not watch people die from home. These men and women are useless. The institutions you have given yourselves are not working. And believe me, Eric, the people of this country are going to have a national conversation. And in that national conversation, all these issues will be addressed. This constitution we shall have, my friend, will speak for the common person. It will be the first in the world to speak for the common person.
You think we're getting that critical mass?
Pardon? Oh, yeah.
Do you think you're getting that critical mass?
The Gen Z thing was just an indicator of where we are heading. So an indicator that the people of this country will no longer watch. They will no longer lie down to wait for graders to pass on them. No, they will not. Because those graders are driven by their tribesmen. They will not watch. And if you are opening your eyes, just open them and see what is taking place. The level of exposure of the evil in society. Who would have known their done deal was going to be exposed? In the olden days, nobody would have known.
Yeah.
Or if they knew, they would not have dared speak.
They have not. Now it is exposed. And
It's a daily
where things have
conversation.
reached, they can't change.
Adani, yes.
Now, the danger now is the people are going to engage in... You see, and I'm not telling the judiciary to rule in any particular way, but I'm only saying this. There are 3 ways of impeaching state officers and the state institutions. One, you can go to court and impeach a state officer, and the courts will say he's not fit to hold office and so on, or a state organ has overstretched and overstepped. 2, Parliament can impeach the way they are impeaching Gachagua because you have misbehaved. 3, street impeachment. The people will impeach state officers and state institutions which fail. So, the institutions, so to speak, today are under watch. Parliament has failed. Now, the next one is the judiciary. And I'm not saying they must rule in a particular way. I'm just saying they must know the spotlight
is
is
now
on them. On them.
Yeah.
Because if I were the judiciary, I will find a way of completely getting out of this thing. Completely.
Well, let's see. Like you've said, the political class is exhibiting its behavior and how it feels about it. So it's about the people looking at that and saying, is this what we approve of or do we not approve of?
Correct.
Do we cheer them on or do we respond? And how do we respond?
Is it a game or is it reality?
Yeah. How much of a reality is it to our lives? Thank you very much, Herman. Always a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, City.
Herman Manyora, political analyst.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.